Welcome to Breast Intentions, the podcast where we take off the bra of expectations and dive into honest, empowering conversations. We're your hosts, Nadine and Cynthia, two Canadian girls who swapped snow boots for flip-flops in the Cayman Islands. This is your space to feel seen, supported, and a little less alone. So grab a cup of coffee or a glass of champagne and get ready for your weekly handful of truth, wellness, and empowerment. Welcome back to Breast Intentions. Today, we're joined by Jaime Filer, a published journalist, motivational speaker, and health coach with over 20 years of online coaching experience. With a degree in kinesiology and exercise physiology, Jaime has made it her mission to help women, especially women in the LGBTQ+ community, overcome overwhelm, reduce anxiety, and build lasting confidence through fitness and mindset. She believes there's a cost to not putting your health first, and today she's here to share how we can all take charge of our well-being in midlife and beyond.
So on today's episode, we have Jaime Filer, who is a health and wellness coach in the US, also a very good friend of mine from many, many years ago. She's the owner of Filer Fitness, and we are going to be talking about something a little bit different today, which is actually something that we haven't talked about, but something that everyone is very familiar with, which is the cost of not putting yourself first. So welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. And a couple of weeks ago, I ended up seeing a video that you had posted. I watch all of your videos. You're very motivational and very inspirational. And for all of our viewers and our listeners who don't know anything about you, give us a little bit of a background on how you ended up starting Filer Fitness.
Yeah, great question. So I've known since forever what I've wanted to do. I was very lucky growing up. When the guidance counselor in 11th or 12th grade asked what I wanted to do, or, what your major is, what you wanted your major to be in university, the answer was recess and gym. Like, what could I do that combined the aspects of recess and gym? And he said, well, there's kinesiology, which is the study of human movement. And I said, okay, well, if that's as close as I'm going to get, sign me up for 4 years. And he said, okay. So I got my university degree. It was also at that time that the first season of Biggest Loser was really popular.
Oh.
Jillian Michaels and Bob Harper.
Okay.
And I guess prior to that, we had only seen, law dramas, medical dramas, police, firefighter dramas. It was almost the first television show that legitimized the profession of personal trainer enough that it could be on TV. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, isn't that a fantastic way to make a living? Right? Like, okay, I'm studying this in school because I love it. Wait, people will also pay for this service? Absolutely. Now I'm like super in it. Yeah. So I started coaching people online through the bodybuilding.com forums and just accepting,
that's right,
charity donations to make custom programs based on everything I was learning in university. And then as soon as I got out, I started coaching people at a boutique fitness studio in downtown Toronto, and the rest is history.
I forgot about bodybuilding.com.
Yeah. Most people do, because other than Reddit, there aren't really forums aren't as big as they were.
No.
I'm going to say about 20 years ago, which is when I started university.
Yeah. And side note, have you watched the Netflix show?
I have.
The Biggest Loser?
And I've been following Jillian's Instagram, which I don't normally do, and all of the drama she is causing on that side.
Holy smokes. Cynthia, have you watched it?
I don't think I can. I don't know if I can. I feel like it would upset me. Yeah.
And then if you do a deep dive or go down the rabbit hole of her Instagram, it just becomes its own docuseries.
Yeah. Which it probably will at some point too.
Oh, sure. Like her version? Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of going off of the subject of not putting your health first, which is something that you probably see. And I would probably say, just also coming from the industry as well, is that is a key factor to people coming to us right?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
because they have recognized that they haven't put themselves first. So can you share what it looks like for women in like midlife and menopause specifically, where there's the cost of not putting yourself first? Like, what are the main areas that it affects?
Yeah. I also want to address something you said at the beginning, which was, people recognize that they're not putting people come to us because they recognize they're not putting their health first. Completely honestly, it's not always them recognizing it. Their partner
True.
has said something about their health. Their kids are noticing that they're slowing down. Your doctor has told you your
Yeah.
cholesterol is too high or has suggested Ozempic for you, right? Like sometimes you're so blissfully ignorant or unaware or naive that your health is declining. You need someone else to state the obvious. But what it looks like for women in midlife and menopause, I think it shows up everywhere. I think it shows up in your energy. I think it shows up in your confidence and in your relationships. Based on the experiences of clients and friends in perimenopause and menopause, you start snapping at people you love. It's essentially puberty 2.0, right? You're not in control of your hormones. Your brain feels foggy. You're carrying extra weight in places you weren't carrying it before, right? You don't feel like yourself anymore. So essentially the cost of not putting your health first is that you don't recognize yourself when you look in the mirror.
Right, right. So I guess like you were saying, like anxiety comes with that. Lack of confidence comes with that. And how does anxiety manifest differently in women going through perimenopause and menopause? And what strategies do you recommend to manage it? I know that anxiety is a very huge focus for you with what it is that you do with your clients.
Yep. I mean, it's sneaky because for a lot of us, it's not panic attacks because we can't afford to have panic attacks. There are too many people relying on us. You can't just shut down, like, close your laptop, turn off your phone, right? You can't do that in real life, but it shows up as this constant undertone of worry or irritability or feeling overstimulated. Like everything is, why does everyone need something from me, right? Because by the time you're in menopause, you've got so many different branches. You have your work branch, and maybe perhaps you're in a C-suite role or you run your own business and you have a family or a partner or you have, right? You have so many more things that you're responsible for than you did in your 20s and your 30s. Hormonal shifts can also heighten the stress response. So what worked before when you were in your 20s and 30s no longer works in your 40s and 50s. My go-to strategies and the ones that we recommend to clients are consistent movement first and foremost. And notice how I said movement and not exercise, because often exercise will mimic the symptoms of a panic attack. You get your heart rate up, you get sweaty, your breathing becomes erratic. So we say movement because we just want you to go out for a walk. Just regulate your cortisol, regulate your blood sugar through nutrition or going for a walk after a meal. Nervous system resets like journaling, breath work. Honestly, petting a dog or an animal in general has been shown to release oxytocin. There's a connection there. So those are our go-to strategies and my go-to strategies for myself as well.
Well, and I think when it comes to anxiety, I also think that there's a lot of women that are like, I can handle it. I can deal with it. But I also think that there's people who don't understand maybe when they are struggling with anxiety. Just because sometimes we define anxiety as it has to look this way, but it can also, and it's actually happened to me before where I was talking to a doctor about something completely different. She's like, "Oh, so you have generalized anxiety?" And I was like, "I just thought that that's how everyone is."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought everyone dealt with this all of these thoughts kind of went through their head. But one of the things that I really like with what you had said is when it comes to exercise, when we choose to over-exercise or exercise a lot, the body can view it as a stress.
Absolutely.
And because our body doesn't know the difference between maybe us being angry at work or someone or a partner or something like that, and the stress that we're putting on it in the gym. So the body just knows I feel a certain way, therefore I am going to have a certain response. And the body shuts down and cortisol rises. So sometimes for women, one of the best things that you can do is to go for a walk or hang out with an animal, or like anything that's going to help settle the nervous system and regulate the nervous system. So let's talk a little bit about confidence.
Nadine? What is it possible that, say you're having anxiety, that would like you be unmotivated to go for a walk, or unwilling, like you're unwilling to do that or unable to do that, even though you know it'll make you feel better?
Yeah. Yes, that is quite legitimate. So then the question becomes, what is the lowest barrier to entry of movement that you'd be willing to do? That's it, right? You don't want to leave your house. Awesome. How do you feel about putting on a yoga with Adriene video? How do you feel about just gentle stretching for 5 minutes? What is the bare minimum you can do in terms of movement that doesn't necessarily involve you leaving your house if you're unmotivated?
Good.
But, one of Newton's laws is an object at rest stays at rest unless acted on by an external force. So you cannot stay at rest. You have to do something.
So even like maybe walking around the apartment or something like that is a good first step.
Yeah.
And then maybe it'll build to going outside for a walk.
Absolutely. The only reason, there are just so many advantages to going outside. And I think if you can take a second to pull yourself out of the emotion and into the logic, outside gives you vitamin D. Nature gives you, which is a happy hormone. Nature gives you serotonin, which is a happy hormone. But also, one of the reasons we get anxious is because of our environment, right? Like I know sometimes when I go back home to visit my mom in Toronto, her house is just so full of tchotchkes. Things, right? If you know the Yiddish word, there's stuff, there are things everywhere. It becomes overwhelming. So I go outside for a change in environment. So I know, and again, I know when you're in it, it's so hard to pull yourself out of it. But if you're like getting outside is the answer, not just part of the answer, it will make going outside that much easier.
I mean, I can see it though. Like I can see it. I feel like I've experienced this, but maybe changing this reframing the mindset, like it's like, I'm not going for an exercise. I'm not I have to do this. Yes, exactly. Maybe even, I can walk to the mailbox. I can walk to that person's house because they're my best friend, or like reframing it a little bit.
Yep. I'll just do it for 2 minutes. That's another one. Instead of just like, okay, next door, how about you can do it? Because you can do anything for 2 minutes. I'll just walk for 2 minutes and then I'll turn around. But then
you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. I can go for 2 more minutes or 2 more minutes or two. Yeah.
There it is. Exactly. Yeah.
And I think, like you said as well, that there's something to be said for a person that lives in that mindset and that state of, I have to, because, and kind of going along the lines of like this 10,000 step thing. And I don't know if you've seen some stuff that has come up about it, where people will sometimes get the mindset of like, I have to get 10,000 steps. I have to get 10,000 steps. That might not be realistic in your world. Maybe it's 7,000 or whatever it is. But now all of a sudden you have put even more stress and more pressure on yourself to get that extra 3. So I do find as well that just like trying to be as realistic as you can in your world, to not put that pressure on yourself of like, I have to, but like you said, like 2 minutes is pretty easy for anyone. But getting yourself out of that mindset too. So, you also are big on mental health and looking at that for women combined with anxiety. How does it directly impact physical health, particularly for women who are entering perimenopause and menopause? That might be a bit of a loaded question, but
no. I think you made it. Well, Cynthia actually asked a great question. When your mental health is suffering, movement feels impossible. That's it. You don't, again, like she said, you don't even want to leave your house, let alone get in an actual workout versus steps, right? So when you stop moving, though, your mood dips even further because, again, not taking action alleviates anxiety, simply put, right? And it's a vicious cycle. But the flip side is so powerful because exercise movement is literally an antidepressant. The same way depression is a change in your body chemistry and your hormones. We know this. So is exercise. Like you actually get, we talk about it, the rush of endorphins, the runner's high. You can also change your body's chemistry and the neurotransmitters in your brain by moving. We also have food. Food can change the chemistry of your brain. I'm sure we've all experienced that, not only the lethargic crash that comes after a lot of sugar or like a high sugar meal, but you also maybe just feel shitty, whatever that feels like to you, right? So food can be fuel for the brain and the heart. And then of course, sleep. Sleep is medicine. Sometimes we feel better emotionally and physically after a good night's rest. We're not as on edge. You're in a fight with your partner, you go to bed, you wake up, everything is fine again, right? Small daily wins in the physical health department, drinking more water, these small wins make a huge difference in stabilizing your mental health.
And I'm sure you probably have heard a lot, like just going back to not putting yourself first is I don't have the time to walk. I don't have the time to work out. I don't have the time to prep myself my meals or cook myself my food, or I don't have. Where do you start with someone?
Yeah. I mean, the answer is you don't have the time not to, because you're cutting your life short by not doing it. That's the only answer. I was talking to someone on our team about this, and because we were talking, everyone is different. Everyone is wired differently. What motivates Cynthia isn't what motivates Nadine, isn't what motivates Jamie. So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, am I motivated by the pursuit of pleasure, or am I motivated by the avoidance of pain? Right? We have some people who come to us, oh, my doctor said that I'm pre-diabetic. Okay, well, we got to get you out of that state, right? We got to avoid the pain that comes with being diagnosed as diabetic in your midlife. And then the pain associated with the costs of having diabetes, because it is one of the most expensive illnesses out there. Or we could go the route of, I want to see my grandkids get married. I want to be there for my children as they grow up. I want to run and hike well into my 50s and 60s. So look at what motivates you. And there's nothing wrong with being pain avoidant. That's okay. It's not negative. It just is. And then determine what the next step would be for you.
So then on top of someone kind of saying, I can't, or I don't have the time or whatever, what about people who struggle with guilt and with shame around not putting themselves first? Very, very common for people.
Guilt or shame with putting themselves first, right?
Yeah.
I think, and so what we tell clients is that taking care of yourself is the least selfish thing you can do, because when you're healthy, you show up as a better mom, as a better partner, as a better leader on your team, work-wise, as a better friend. The people around you don't need and don't want this exhausted, burned out, potentially in poor health version of you. They need the vibrant one. Especially the people that you think you're being selfish to. Oh, if I go to the gym, I'm not going to be around, that's one less hour with my partner. I feel bad. Okay. But then when I say, I'm just curious, how has intimacy been affected ever since you put on the 50 pounds through COVID? And they're like, oh, we're not intimate at all. Okay, cool. Pretty sure your partner would rather have sex consistently with you than not see you for an hour 3 times a week, right? This is a trade-off. So, right. Again, putting yourself first is the least selfish thing you can do.
I like how you said an hour, 3 days a week too, because I think a lot of us think I've got to go all in. I've got to go 7 days a week. It's like every single day for at least an hour, or else I'm not doing anything. So
Yeah.
that's important
Yes.
too, to realize maybe it doesn't take your whole time.
I think
And
you
that's
guys are,
where
I mean,
being
go ahead.
realistic, right? That's
It
where
goes
being
back to
realistic.
why we don't call it exercise in our program. We call it movement because just going for a walk, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face, and you guys are going to get sick of it. It could look like 3 hours, like 1 hour, 3 days a week. It could look like going outside your apartment to get steps in. As long as you are moving, it doesn't matter.
So, kind of going off of the exercise side of things, there's particular exercises or routines that are especially beneficial for women dealing with perimenopause symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, or sleep disturbances. So, what are those types of exercise and routines?
I think any sort of resistance training, so weight bearing, weight training, but it's not these high intensity classes. So it's not F45, it's not Orange Theory, it's not CrossFit, it's not High Rocks. Okay, for the majority of people. Okay, resistance training paired with low intensity cardio is your sweet spot because heavy lifting stimulates growth hormone, which combats fatigue and brain fog and is the drug, the hormone for fat loss and muscle gain, which is important in menopause. And then that walking or steady state cardio versus high intensity intervals, right? 15 seconds hard, 45 seconds easy, 15 seconds hard, 45 seconds. Just go at 70% for 20 minutes, right? This lowers stress hormones. It also improves sleep. So I guess short answer is that it's about balance, not extremes.
So, I'll challenge you on this one.
Yeah.
What about if you get someone who is like, I love spin class. I love the 60-minute spin class. It may not necessarily be the greatest for me in perimenopause or menopause, but I love it. And I love doing it 5 days a week. It's what gets me out of the house. It's what gets me with my friends. And, it's hard. It's 60 minutes. It's like, what would you say?
I would ask them if that's working for them.
And how's that working for you?
It depends on what their goals are,
Really, I
right?
mean,
Like if their goal is to get out and socialize with their friends and have that amazing feeling of that rush of energy, I guess, whatever it is for them, then okay, then, but it's not going to maybe have these other results that you might want. So yeah, it may, or maybe, yeah, maybe they'll choose to do that 3 times a week or 2 times a week. So they still have that social time and still have that if they love it so
that's it.
much. I feel,
Yeah, I mean, one thing we do, because we do get clients like that, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I don't ask that question to be an asshole. But
No, not at all.
you or I are on this call for a reason. Something in your
Exactly.
life isn't working the way it should.
Yes.
Would you like the antidote to that?
Yeah.
this is how, maybe 20 years ago, this is what we told would work. Like the hit, the high energy, like high impact, the F45, like it, go, go, go. Like you have to hit it hard. You have to put your all into it. You have to so that's maybe what worked 20 years ago. And now it's
Yeah.
necessary,
Well,
but we might just fall back into that because that's what we know. And that's what works. That's what people are telling me to do. But no.
and in a way, that's actually that Biggest Loser documentary. I think that started a lot of it as well, is like run the people to the ground and by doing this achieves X and
Yeah.
people were rewarded on it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
But then they have a documentary made about them, 15 years later about the repercussions,
Yes.
how many of them didn't keep the weight off, how many of them now have a
Yes.
messed up relationship with food.
Yes.
So there's, for every give me there's a gotcha. You want to keep your spin class, you can keep it, but there's going to be a gotcha eventually.
Okay, so one more question from me is how can women balance the desire for weight management and fitness with the realities of changing hormone levels in midlife?
I love that. You have to accept that the rules have changed, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
rules changed when you were, let's say when you were a female between 14 and 16, right? Your body changed, how you ate maybe changed. They probably changed again in your 30s, or maybe even they changed when you became a mother, or maybe they changed when you went from your 20s to a desk job,
Exactly. Yeah.
right? So you accept that the rules change, but the game isn't over. We don't just resign ourselves to the meno belly and this is how things are going to be. And I guess I just can't eat the foods I loved, right? No. Okay. You can't diet like you're in your 20s, but you can't, and I even hate the word diet. But yeah, you can't lose weight the same way you did in your 20s, but you can still lose weight. And how about we just focus on muscle retention or even muscle building? And then weight loss will be a byproduct. Let's focus on stress management because then weight loss will be a byproduct. Sustainable nutrition because then weight loss will be a byproduct, right? It just, when you're in menopause and perimenopause, weight loss becomes a byproduct of everything else you do because your body is completely changed from decades ago, not the other way around.
And this is another mind shift, I think, for me that helps too, is when I do change my mindset and focus, like stop focusing on weight loss and more focus on muscle. Like I know that muscle is good for me. I know that it's going to be good in the long run because of like, say, osteoporosis or falls or whatever. So thinking that way makes it so much easier for me than going, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight and focusing on that because it seems like a more negative mindset versus a more positive and fulfilling mindset.
Yeah, but also, I mean, when you think about it, if I asked you to try to sleep more or longer or better or create an evening routine that allowed you to wind down, to me, that sounds easier than I need you to get 10,000 steps, do 4 days a week of 20 minutes cardio, and weight train 3 days a week. You're like, holy shit. But sleeping more will lead to weight loss the same way more steps, more cardio, and adding weight training will lead to weight loss.
It's hard to convince people around that though until they start to see the shift because it's like, so sleep is going to make me lose weight.
I know. Yeah. And there's only what? There's three of us.
I hired you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hired you to hear that.
Told me to sleep more.
All this money just to tell me to sleep more. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I'm also like, cool. I'm down for that. I can do that.
Yeah.
So we speak about the energy cost of neglecting your health. How can women notice the early signs that their health is being compromised?
Yeah. I think this is similar to like when you're in a shitty relationship. Like they don't start off as red flags. There's like little pink alarm bells that are going off that you're not dumb, right? Like whispers turn into screams. So I think constant fatigue, I think, is one of them. Nadine, you said it at the beginning of this call when you're like, well, doesn't everyone experience this? Don't assume that everyone experiences this.
Right.
How much anxiety do you have? I think normal level. Bruh, there's no such thing as a normal level of anxiety is no anxiety. There's no such thing as a normal level of anxiety. I think getting sick frequently, that's another big one. If you find system is compromised and you're just like you come down with a common cold more frequently than your friends, disrupted sleep, mood swings, not feeling like yourself, bloating constantly, not just like after one meal, but regardless of whether it's dairy or gluten or something else, you're always feeling bloated. I think the little things, noticing the little things
that we would just start to accept as normal because it's happening so often.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Brain fog as well, or like your kind of the loss for words and stuff like that, where it's it creeps up on you.
Yeah.
But also you might just go, well, I'm in perimenopause, so of course.
Yeah.
But we don't have to accept that.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. Just work around it.
You mentioned that relationships are affected by health and anxiety. How do you see women's midlife hormonal shifts impacting relationships? And are there strategies that can help with that?
For sure. I mean, irritability, right? We talked about the mood swings. It's funny, Katie and I were talking and she's like, okay, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but sometimes I just want to kill you. And it's like, it'll be like 20 seconds and I just wish you were dead. And then I come back. Okay.
Don't take it the wrong way.
And he's like, yeah. She's like, I mean, I want you around. Like, we're going to be married forever. But like, I know. Sometimes I just wish you were dead. I said, okay, cool. So that's one, right? You just want to murder people. Just feeling homicidal. Low libido. That's another one. Again, another one of those. And all of these are hormone shifts, right? They're not necessarily emotional. They are physiological. So it's like, yeah, libido shift, and that's okay. Feeling disconnected, just almost like, I mean, honestly, these kind of sound like symptoms of depression, but like I mentioned earlier, depression is a lot of hormone shifts, is a lot of brain chemistry shifts. So is menopause. And those things can strain partnerships. Honestly, like not being intimate with your partner, that's a stretch because that's another way to connect. Of course, you can have deep conversations and go out on date nights, but like sex is connection. So the key here is communication and self-awareness. Right? Letting your partner know, right? Katie had to reassure me, no, it's nothing that you did. Like, you're not a bad wife. I just want to kill you sometimes. Okay. So when you learn to regulate your health emotionally and physically, you regain energy, you reclaim your power, you get your bandwidth back, which then improves intimacy and patience and your relationship in general. So the strategies would be communicating constantly with your partner, introspection, perhaps through journaling or using ChatGPT to ask, some questions and prompts, and then handling business.
Yeah, and that actually leads into my next question, like prioritizing health, and how does that then improve productivity, creativity, success in business and personal life during midlife?
I think when you feel good physically, you have more capacity for everything. You have right off the bat, you've got more focus, you've got more creativity. If you've ever woken up after getting like 8 hours of sleep, you know what this feels like. If you've ever gone 3 days in a row eating clean, you know what this feels like, right? You also stop wasting energy on insecurity and being exhausted, right? Like another conversation we have with clients a lot, especially anyone who wears a uniform for work. When I say, well, how many times are you tugging at your scrubs instead of paying attention to what the patient is saying? Like, how many times are you thinking about, we just got a client who works for a restaurant, so she wears a chef's apron, and she's like, I hate how it sits on my stomach. I hate how it stubs my stomach. And I said, do you ever get distracted with what you're doing in your career by how your clothes sit on your body? So when you're taking care of your health, these things are not a concern, right? You might, again, get lost in what your kid is saying because you're like, my stomach is hanging over my jeans.
Yep.
Right?
There's women in the corporate world as well, where they're like C-suite level or at a higher level, and they're doing a lot of presenting and stuff. That's what I end up seeing is they're very uncomfortable with having to stand up in front of a bunch of people and feeling so uncomfortable in their skin and then in their clothes. And then they can't really concentrate on exactly what it is that they're trying to deliver because they are so worried that someone's probably staring at me, someone's probably thinking something about me, and all of these different thoughts that are going through your head. Again, coming back down to the cost of not putting yourself first.
Yeah. So imagine getting all of that time and energy back and then channeling it back into that C-suite presentation or your family or whatever passion projects you're really excited about. Health is the ultimate productivity hack.
It really is. I've never heard anybody put it that way. But it's true.
Okay. Yeah.
It really is.
You get time back in your life. You create more time. You create more energy and space in your life. All of it.
Wow. A lot of your business is working with women in the LGBTQ plus community. How do you approach coaching for women in the LGBTQ plus community who may face unique stressors during midlife transitions?
It's so funny because we get so much hate online that's like, they talk about in an era where we're trying to bring humanity together, why do you guys segregate yourself? Why do you create divisiveness? And we're like, guys, any minority, right? Whether it's the color of your skin, even females is a minority, the LGBTQ plus community is a minority. Minority stress is a thing, right? So when you have minority stress on top of hormonal stress, on top of physical stress, because your health isn't 100%, representation matters. You want to see someone like you talking about your problem. So our job, our company is to create a safe, judgment-free, affirming space where people feel seen for what they are and who they are.
Yeah, I love it.
Good for you guys.
Thank you.
Are there common misconceptions about midlife wellness in the LGBTQ plus community that you'd like to chat about today?
Misconceptions. I think this goes back to, so it's so funny, I cut my hair and I have muscles, and therefore the misconception is I want to look like a man.
I can see that. I've seen comments like that all over the internet.
Yeah, right? First of all, I've never been a man, but I imagine there's more to being a man than just having muscles and short hair. Again, I can't speak for men, but the same way there's more to a woman than just having boobs and long hair.
Right.
I don't even know the characteristics of women. Yeah, so that's a misconception that I want to be a man. Nadine, one day I hope you meet Katie because you guys would get along so well. But Katie wears the pants in our family. She runs the house. I run the business. That's fine. But she runs our house. She runs our friend group. This woman is a boss. But people are like, well, you're the man in the relationship. Why? We share a bank account, so I don't bring in more. She sometimes opened the doors for me. I sometimes open the door for, so that's another misconception, that there has to be a man and a woman in the relationship and what that looks like.
Yeah. I guess top 3 actionable steps women can take today to start putting their health first, regardless of say current fitness level or mindset.
Yeah. Great question. Go walk outside every day. Every day. Don't have to go to a gym. Don't have to take a spin class. Just walk outside every day, because fresh air plus movement equals instant stress relief. New environment. Number 2, I would say eat protein with every meal. It stabilizes energy. It will reduce your cravings. It'll help build muscle. And then number 3, we kind of mentioned it. Work on your evening routine. Try to go to bed 30 minutes earlier, because nothing works in your life, whether it's your mental or physical health, if you are sleep deprived.
Yeah, it's true. All those very true. Love it. I've noticed a huge difference when I've prioritized protein and have focused on it. I think I used to be like, yeah, I'm totally eating protein. I'm not worried about that. And then I tracked it for a day. And I was like, turns out I'm not eating as much protein as I thought I was. But I noticed even just simple things like not having cravings and not being hungry in between meals, or being able to stay focused. When you're hungry, it's distracting and you can't always focus on what you're doing. So I've noticed a huge change. That would be one major thing for me as well that I've noticed. Also the walking, getting outside, and it's free. Because gyms can be expensive, spin classes can be expensive, Pilates is super expensive. So it's it's something that I can add in my routine that's free, and I can do it whenever I have some free time.
Yep.
Sleep as well. And Cynthia, you've mentioned this before. Because sleep, you have a very rigid sleep regimen. Yeah. Jamie, do you?
It's okay. It's rigid in terms of what I do. It's not rigid in terms of when I do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't like as soon as it hits 8:30, I don't stop whatever I'm doing and start the
Yeah.
routine.
Right.
It's more of an organic shift into step 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
depending on what we're doing in the evening.
I have one final question. What advice do you have for women who feel overwhelmed by the physical and emotional changes of perimenopause or menopause and unsure where to
Yeah.
start? Go for a walk.
Yeah, well, yes, but indirectly, you said what I think the last question was like, what are the top 3 actions that you can take, right? Pick one would be my
Yeah.
advice, right? What's your best advice on where to begin? Do one thing, one habit that you can stick to. So don't commit to 5 days a week of spin or whatever it is, right? Commit to one thing that you know that you can do every single day. Walking, journaling, lifting weights twice a week, right? Don't try to overhaul
Yeah.
everything because consistency compounds. So overwhelm will fade when you start small and what you're doing feels possible for you.
Yeah. Very true. All right. Well, that was my last question.
Well, I think-
Do we have anything else to chat about? I mean, I don't want to let you go. This has been so fun.
Well, I think just kind of going back to like what we talked about initially, which is just the cost of not putting your health first. And there's so many different things that a person can do. A lot of it has to do with like stepping out of your own way, right? And
Yeah.
I do think also having someone in your corner, like you and Katie and all of your coaches. How many coaches do you have now?
There are 5 of us in total.
Is there?
Yeah.
You guys have an army of people too. Like the amount of people that you guys work with is pretty cool. So
We're
And-
we're happy.
and you guys have a very good work-life balance according to social media.
Everything on there is true.
Like work-life,
Yeah, right? Obviously.
but
Social media. It's
you
the
guys
gospel.
also you guys practice what you preach. You practice what you preach.
Yes, that's 100% true. And Cynthia, we don't use work-life balance at home because we aren't balanced. But we integrate. So for every, let's say 2 weeks that we go hard in our business and I am working till 7, and you will see that on social media, you'll also see us take off to Arizona for 4 days, or you'll see us go to a 3-day music festival, or we'll stay out till 3 a.m. at a concert in Tampa, right? So we do our best to integrate and harmonize work and real life, because what's the point in working this hard if you can't enjoy it like we don't want to enjoy it when we're 50, like we don't want freedom 55, we want like freedom 38 for a little bit, and then freedom 43 and freedom 50, and just go through these ebbs and flows.
So if people want to get a hold of you, where can they find you?
Instagram is the easiest, and I respond to all my DMs. So you can find me at Jaime Filer Fitness. That's probably the easiest. And then it's also JamieFilerFitness@gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if people do you offer like a consultation with people, or how does it work?
Absolutely. Yeah. Willing to hop on a call with all women from all walks of life. You don't have to be LGBTQ plus. We're happy to, as long as you're slightly overwhelmed, we are happy to hop on a call.
Okay. Well, thank you, Jaime. This has been great. We really, really enjoyed having you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
Great
you so
conversation.
much.
Great question.
Okay.
Now you have to come
My
visit.
pleasure. Yeah, I know, right? No, we'll make it out there.
Thanks for joining us on Breast Intentions. We hope you felt seen, supported, and maybe had a few laughs along the way. Don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review us. Your support keeps the conversation alive. Follow us on social media for more insights, behind-the-scenes fun, and updates on future episodes. Got a topic you want us to dive into? We'd love to hear from you. Remember, life's too short for bad bras, toxic relationships, and kale you don't actually like. So until next time, stay bold and keep your breast intentions exactly where they belong, front and center. Now go crush midlife, or at least today's to-do list. Cheers!